Baby!
Oh! It is a beautiful area where she went.
Is that, considering any time we go anywhere, eat airplane food, it didn't smell good. I'm sure y'all have smelt it.
Yes, I do.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to go back with B&D Chronicles, starring your host, Beamer! Dawn. With their two boys, Tyler and Bradley. Together, and with their two children, this dynamic duo make up what is known as B&D Chronicles. So as they're out and about, just peeping around, you never know who these two might even run into. It could be Graham. It could be aliens. It could even be this guy. It could even be this lovely couple right here. So strap yourselves in, make yourself comfortable, and get ready to go back with B&D Chronicles.
Babies!
Yeah?
Baby! You're late again.
What?
Really?
Oh!
You goober.
You know, after uploading the video and stuff like that, which I hope you guys enjoyed that video, by the way. Sorry it took us so long to get that out. But it's out. We hope the responses are really good.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you want to tell them how your trip was? Update them, let them know how crazy it was.
Okay, so, as many of you know, I'm in college. What a lot of people may not know is I'm a dual major, anthropology and music, with a goal. Here we go, here's the mouthful, y'all. I want to be an ethnomusicologist with a focus in pop culture studies and a sub-focus in gender and women's issues. It all intertwines. It just sounds really, really complicated, but it's not, at least not to me. Now, on to why I went on a trip.
She had a good time, by the way. Real quick, I lived up in Seattle, Washington for years. I've been through the area that she went through. Never stayed, but I have gotten to see it. So, it is a beautiful area where she went.
All right. I am the president of the anthropology club on campus. And through that club, I was given the opportunity to take myself and 3 other members to an anthropology conference in Portland, Oregon. The conference was the Society for Applied Anthropology, which technically I don't do, but I do like to go and see what other people are researching and just mingle and be around people that know what I'm talking about, because let's be real, I say anthropology and a lot of people look at me funny. So, I booked us for the conference. I love booking travel. I'm sure you've noticed that, considering anytime we go anywhere, I research and talk about it with him, and he mentions it to you guys.
Yeah.
A lot. I love it. It's passion. So being able to do this was great. Now, here's where things get interesting. Very interesting. First of all, I love to fly, and I love airports, and I love being there. I am one of those people that is smiling at every TSA agent. That is me. It's just how we are.
We love travel.
So I loved going to the airport with these people, and the bus ride from Maine to Boston, because it's the better airport in this area, was great and fun. And it wasn't until we were at the airport we ran into a snafu, if you will. I don't know if any of you know what Spirit Airlines is. Spirit Airlines likes to advertise themselves as a bare fare airline. Seats are cheap, and you just pay for all your extras like baggage or choosing your seat. They were the cheapest for my trip. I want to say this now before I continue. They were cheapest but I have flown with them before, and it was a good experience. This, however, was not. It started when we got very close to our boarding time, and they moved another flight to our gate, which they have to move gates all the time. Things happen.
Yeah.
I am a very understanding flyer. Like, honestly, as long as I make it around the time I'm supposed to, I'm good.
Same.
But they boarded the wrong flight. Like, they did the wrong order. So they boarded people. These poor people sat on this plane for almost an hour before they announced they were deboarding them. So all these people got on the plane, were comfortable, were sitting for an hour, and I'm sure most of you have traveled, so you know when you're just sitting on the plane and you're not about to take off, the vents don't work as well. Like, it warms up. These poor people are sitting there. I'm waiting for them to tell us when we're going to board, because I had a connecting flight that I had to make. And from the time my plane took off in Boston and then landed at my connecting flight in Las Vegas, I was going to have 40 minutes, which is Spirit's boarding time. So basically I was going to land, run to the plane, board, and then be taking off almost instantaneously.
And that was in
Vegas.
Vegas, right.
McCarran Airport, for those of you that are nerds like me and want to know these things. Anyway.
That's why I love her. She has all this information that blows my mind.
So, now you can figure that if I'm getting nervous about my flight time, other people are too, because you know you're not the only person with a connecting flight, and time's ticking away, and there's no way you're going to take off and land in time for your connector. Now, one of the people traveling with me went and stood in line and was very, patient about waiting, which patience is not always my strong point. So it was a good thing they waited, but I did manage to do a bunch of the talking when we got up there. Spirit Airline knew we were not going to make our flight, and they were trying to buy us tickets. Basically, they were purchasing the tickets for a new flight, which is very nice of them. Boston Airport is broken up into different terminals, and they're not connected. So once you're through security, if you have to go to a different airline, essentially you're leaving the secure area and going back through. The lady at the gate who was looking for these tickets tried to get me to switch to an airline that was on the complete opposite side of the airport and leaving in less than an hour. There was no physical way I could do that. One of the people traveling with me definitely couldn't, because she has leg issues, which, whatever, the airport's still fun for everyone. This person also loves to travel and is an experienced traveler and is lucky enough to be doing the Disney College program in the fall.
Wow.
Congrats, because I think you watch. Now, we both made it known that putting us in another terminal with such a short turnover time, unacceptable, can't happen, but there is another airline in the same terminal as Spirit. So, we got to fly United, which they were outstanding and they saved the day. People might be wondering why I'm praising United when Spirit got us the tickets. Here's why. I had paid for everyone to have one carry-on bag, along with their personal item on Spirit. When Spirit purchased us our tickets, they did not pay for a carry-on bag. So we're going through the airport. The guy that's pushing my friend's wheelchair takes us to the wrong gate and the wrong section of the airport. Leaves. Now, he shouldn't have left. His job is to stay with her until she's on the plane.
Wow.
But he left, and the lady at that gate actually printed our tickets and directed us to where we had to go. So we have to wait for another gentleman to come with another wheelchair. Gets us to the right gate. At that gate, they were very confused about what was happening. Redid our tickets, so at least two of us sat together, which was nice. And then one of the ladies there goes, well, do you have carry-on bags? I said yes. And she goes, well, you need to pay for those. And I explained what happened with Spirit. and gave them the paperwork that Spirit printed out for us, and they did something awesome. They technically should have told us we could not take our bags. However, they decided that because it was not our fault, and with everything that happened with Spirit, they let us take our bags. And a great woman that worked for United wrote us out this great thing explaining what happened, and that when we did our connecting flight, which was in San Francisco now, we should be allowed to bring our bags. So we got on the United flight, and we flew to San Francisco, which I love the San Francisco airport. They have great food, and it's a beautiful airport.
Yeah.
And they have like museum exhibits in their terminals. The one we saw was about the 50s, but I did not have time to take photos. But look it up. It was cool.
I'm going to say this. She's told me this story, and like, she hasn't even gone into this much detail with me about everything that happened. I got the gist of what happened over the texts and stuff like that, because of the time difference, the 3 hours behind us. By the time she actually got to the hotel, I was already in bed. I'd already been in bed for like 4 hours. Mm-hmm. It was like 3-4 o'clock our time, and I was already out because I had already worked a long shift the day before. And but anyway,
so we're in San Francisco. I was able to buy food because I didn't want to eat airplane food. It didn't smell good. I'm sure y'all have smelt it. That's just my choice. But flying on United all the way from Boston to San Francisco was great. The seats were comfortable. As we all know, I am not a small person, but I fit just fine. I was comfy. They offer television and music, and you can have an interactive map to see where you're flying and how long. So we get to the airport. We have to go from one side of the terminal that has United to the other. It's a pretty good walk, but it was so worth it because they have beautiful architecture. I'm a nerd for architecture. Let's be real here. And I was able to get food. I don't remember the name of the place, but they had a carne asada sandwich. It was good. Anyway, we have another 2-hour flight, which actually only ended up being an hour and 35 minutes. We got a good tailwind. I was happy. From San Francisco to Portland, Oregon. In the Portland airport, everything was closed because it was so late at night. We landed at almost 1 a.m. And then we had to get out, and I Ubered. I used the Uber app for the first time, and I didn't mess it up. I was proud. It was maybe a 10-minute Uber ride from the airport to our hotel. Now, let me tell you, if you are ever in Portland, Oregon, and you have the chance to go look at the Benson Hotel.
We'll link a description down below so you guys can check it out.
We'll link it, yeah. Just to look at it. It is a gorgeous. There are crystal chandeliers and original wood, and the floors are these like gorgeous granite marbles, and it was amazing.
I'll post some pictures at the end of this video with the outro. How's that sound, guys?
I think you'll like them.
Yeah.
But we get there, and the night clerk was awesome. They got us in our rooms quick, and our rooms were pretty, and the bathroom was great. Like, I did not expect on a school trip on the school budget to be able to get into a hotel this nice. I honestly thought it was going to be one of those situations where you show up and things aren't quite like they are in the photos. I had the opposite. The photos did not do this place justice.
Kind of like the Happiness Hotel.
Yeah. I was expecting Happiness Hotel, and I got straight out of the 1910s, 1920s extravaganza. Definitely, Great Gatsby would hang out here.
So you didn't feel like Fozzie did when he saw the Happiness Hotel and said, if that's the Happiness Hotel, I hate to see what the sad one looks like.
Not at all. Now, at this point, I have not eaten the sandwich I bought. I was tired. But I am not the type of person that falls asleep easy. So I ate my sandwich and I watched a show. I'm relaxing, and I finally fell asleep, and I still woke up early because time differences, and I like to be up kind of early sometimes. Then we had the conference. I won't really go into a lot of detail about that because it's a lot of sitting and listening to other people discuss their research, and it's not really like anything super interesting. Like, it wasn't my normal topics that I research, but it's still nice to go and support other people.
Yeah.
And then lunchtime. Oh, lunchtime. I don't know if any of you know this, but Portland is like a food mecca. They have awesome restaurants and cafes everywhere, and they're most well known for their food trucks. Now, I'm from Maine. Food trucks are not a big deal up here because we have winter.
Nope.
And mud.
I think we had one food truck when we first moved up here.
There was a taco food truck. They
disappeared.
closed.
Disappeared before we even started vlogging,
Yep.
for that matter.
But I went to a food truck and I had Greek food, which I love Greek food. I've always loved Greek food.
Opa!
I had a gyro and I had baklava, and this place was selling Coke in the glass bottles for like $1.50, which is so much fun.
$1.50?
It was $1.50.
I think they're like $2 up here.
Well, Portland. But just like walking around the city and seeing things, and you're in a city, but like you look down the street and you see these gorgeous mountain landscapes. So it's like this juxtaposition of like skyscrapers and mountains, and there's hiking trails nearby, but there's also these like art museums. I loved it because I love that kind of stuff where I can do both.
I forget. Did you say that you saw Mount St. Helens?
Yes. So that was the last day. On the way back to the airport, our Uber driver pointed out Mount St. Helens and Mount Hook. I think she said Mount Hook. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. And then we did food trucks for lunch, and I got Greek with my friend. And then we did food trucks again for dinner because they're cheap, but the food is so good.
Yeah.
And I found this one that does Italian food, and they are like, they were been top rated for the last 3 years. And I tried pizza from them, which I love pizza.
Yeah.
And it was so good. And then we just walked around. But before we did that, because we're college kids, we had dessert before we had dinner. But not just any dessert.
I must say, there's actually a saying at the Rennies. The guy that actually originated it, R.H. Rennie, used to actually have a saying, life is uncertain, eat desserts first.
Yeah.
Always like that.
Me too. But where I went to dessert is what makes it awesome.
Voodoo.
So, we went to Voodoo Donuts. Now, we weren't planning on it, but somebody looked it up and found out there was a Voodoo Donuts nearby, so we walked there.
Which it's the originator in...
The original is in Portland.
Is in
Correct,
Portland.
my love. I didn't know that when I was there.
Did you go to the actual original?
I
one?
don't know. I was too distracted by all the donuts to really look around.
Might have to look that up. Probably post a link in the description as well.
Now, I'm very traditional when it comes to my donuts. I like plain donut with chocolate frosting on top. But when you go to Voodoo Donuts, you order a voodoo doll, because that is like perfect for Voodoo Donuts. It's like a regular bar donut, like a... I can't think of what they're called now. Anyway, it's a square jelly-filled donut, and they cut like arms out, and then they fill it with a raspberry jam.
Ooh.
So good.
And I'm not normally one for raspberry filled. I mean, raspberry filled isn't bad jelly. My favorite is strawberry.
But this tastes like you're eating fresh raspberries. This is so delicious. And they're huge. Like, I have really small hands, and when I laid the donut in my hand, it went over the tips of my fingers.
Yeah, a YouTuber we watched, Tim Tracker, went to Voodoo Donuts in Orlando, and it was twice the size of his hands. His hands are about the...
Not the voodoo doll.
He has big hands, mind you. And, I mean, the guy's tall. And he had a Fruit Loop one, I think it was in the video. And yeah.
So, what makes it a voodoo doll is they take a pretzel and they stab it through, and it looks like a body, and they're just so much fun. But they're so big that, you know, I ate this, like we sat outside, and the building is pink and gold, and the inside is like pink and purple, and there's gold, and it was great. Now, if I ever, well, not if I, when we go back to a Voodoo Donuts, if we have the money, and I hope we do, I want to get the coffin full of donuts. It is a wooden coffin, and it's probably a good 1.5 feet long by like a foot wide, and at least 6 inches deep. But it's a wooden coffin, and you buy that, and you can get it filled with donuts. Now, I don't know how many donuts you can honestly fit, but how good their donuts are, I'm willing to bet I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
Just for the coffin, because, well, I like that kind of stuff. But then we went and got dinner, and we went back to our hotel. The next day was more laid back. Like, we went to the conference, and, well, I guess I couldn't say laid back. Yeah. The conference was laid back. The events that happened in the middle of the conference were not. Just a travel tip. If what happens to my group happens to you and your airline switches you to a different airline, do not go to that different airline until your original airline, in my case Spirit, has guaranteed you and put it in their computer that you were at your gate and they moved you. If they do not do this, you are listed as a no-show, and it says that you did not board your plane, therefore you did not leave. They will cancel your ticket and put your seat back up for sale. Now, they did not email me. They did not alert me. I'm paranoid, and I check reservations a lot. And 1 minute we had our reservation available. In fact, it was about to come up to be able to be checked in. And I like checking in on my phone because then your boarding passes are on your phone. It's easier. But it was gone. And I'm in the middle of a lecture when I checked my phone because they were in between speakers, so I thought I'd check. So I wait till it's done, and I find this back corner of this hotel that the conference is at. And it's not quiet. People are loud, and reception's weird. And I am on the phone with Spirit, informing them that due to their error, I no longer have a way home. They fixed it. It took 1 hour and 10 minutes of me and my friend talking to them and expressing how their solutions do not work. One of their solutions was to have me on a flight to Puerto Rico. Now, I don't know if you guys know geography, but Maine is up here and Puerto Rico is down here.
It's past Florida.
And it wouldn't have worked. But they wanted me to just fly there, and they were going to leave me there. They were not even offering me a connecting flight. Not that I could get on a connecting flight, because they kept saying, oh, there's nothing there. So, after I got frustrated and handed the phone over, my friend was able to finally get them to realize what I was saying was their plans weren't working. Chicago and Pennsylvania, none of those are close enough. None of them. I mean, not that I would love to see O'Hare at least once in my life.
I have.
Yeah, I know. Lucky.
I went on a lot of road trips when I was a kid. But that's another story.
Yeah. But I wanted to get home. I have a family. I had school. I missed my husband.
I missed you.
I know.
You know, I had the bed out here in the living room and take any video.
He won't sleep in our room if I'm not home.
It just doesn't feel right. So I do what most bachelors would do. Have fun. Or a kid. A slumber party out in the living room. Yay! It was great. Other than the fact she wasn't here. Because sleeping diagonal, I'm not going to lie. Across the bed, one corner to the next, most comfortable way to sleep. But not as comfortable as having
me
her
here.
right there.
So, after that was dealt with, I went back to the conference, and I had a lot of fun, and went to McDonald's for dinner, and like walked through the downtown Portland with McDonald's in my purse, carrying a milkshake, doing random photos with my friends in like these random places.
Real quick. Yeah, milkshake. Was the milk going like? Oh.
It was a shamrock shake.
It was a shamrock shake?
Yeah, buddy. Anyway, so we're going through the city.
The 4-leaf clover was doing this. Okay.
We're going through the city, and we get back to our hotel. And I'm one of those people, I pack the night before. So I got all my stuff packed, and I had my clothes laid out, and just enjoyed my night before we left the next morning. Well, we didn't leave early the next day, but we had to check out. So we packed our bags, and we were walking through downtown Portland with our luggage just to go to a mall. I didn't know there was a mall, but there was a mall, and it was cool. And then we Ubered back to the airport. And our time at the airport, for the most part, was fine. They have the coolest thing there, and I love this. In the Portland airport, and I think it's just Portland International. I don't think it has some cool name. I think it's just Portland International Airport.
Oh.
They actually have a pet relief area. So if you have a service animal or you've paid for your pet to travel with you, you can let them out of their kennel in this like secured area. They can relieve themselves. There's water, and that's awesome.
That is pretty cool.
I mean, we put play areas for kids. We might as well have play areas for puppies.
Right.
And we just hung out at the airport until our flight came. Our flight from...
What kind of hangers did you hang out with? You hung out.
Do you see what I put up with, guys?
Gotta love me.
Yeah. The flight from Portland down to Las Vegas was pretty uneventful. Spirit has no extras, so you just listen to music on my phone, which is kind of what I do anyway.
Prefer JetBlue. No offense.
Yes,
Sorry.
we have a preference for JetBlue.
And if you haven't seen the reason why, I will link a video of why in the description.
Okay, we get to McCarran Airport, and from the terminal, you can see like the backside of the hotels on the Strip.
Well, that's cool.
Now, I've never gotten to go to Vegas and enjoy the Strip. I've been through, but like I know enough that I was able to like point out the different hotels and tell them which one was which, because I'm that kind of a person. He knows this. First thing I see when I walk in is slot machines. Like the whole middle section of the terminal is nothing but slots. I didn't do any. Like there's a picture of me sitting in one. I did not do that.
Did they have like guards and stuff posted around that?
There was one person.
Oh.
Who was sitting in a chair in the middle.
I remember when I flew there when I was just 20 years old. It was 2005. And I walked in. I wasn't even old enough yet to gamble. I've only done it once. And I'm not big on it. But I walked over to one of them just to look at. And the guy's like, "Can I see some ID?" I'm like, "Sorry, I was just looking. I'm not old enough." Yeah, I was like, ooh.
So I have to say this as my critique on McCarran. A lot of the terminal was under construction, which is normal, but it's outdated. There's no real good charging locations. There wasn't a lot of like food options, and what they had was definitely overpriced, more expensive than other locations, which makes sense. It's Vegas.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't go to the city of sin and expect to leave rich. But we hung out until our flight, and we got on our flight, and here's where Spirit really lost me. I had a 5.5 hour flight, which got cut down to just under 5 hours. Thank goodness, because when they say they're bare budget, nothing special seat, like they're right. Their seats didn't even really have cushions. On a red eye, Now, I don't know how you get away with that. There wasn't a real tray table. There was like a little metal thing you pulled down. It was maybe the size of the larger iPhones.
Whoa.
The seats were not comfortable. I barely fit in them. And even, like, I could not sleep. So I was up at this point since 6 a.m. And it was about 10 o'clock at night. I didn't sleep the entire flight. And we landed with the time difference around 5 something.
Yeah.
Like 5:30ish.
Yeah.
Got off the plane. We didn't have checked luggage, which is nice, which means we just got to deal with our carry-on. First thing I did is find coffee. I was excited to have Dunkin' Donuts coffee back in my life. I know I was in Portland, there's great coffee, but when you really just want a large iced coffee, you want a large iced coffee.
Yeah.
Dunkin's good for that. We left the secure area, we waited for our bus, and then we took our bus back to Maine, and that was about it. And then I got home, thanks to my lovely friend Taylor.
Yeah. Thank you, Taylor. Again, another shout out. Taylor from the videos, Cole and Taylor. They're awesome.
That was my crazy trip.
And we need to go pop hunting again. Just letting you guys know that I enjoy doing that with Cole.
So I'm gonna do my recommendations. I recommend going to Portland, Oregon. It's fun. There's stuff to do. Like, even at 2 in the morning, there were things open and I could hear street performers, and it was so much fun. Do not fly Spirit Airline.
Yeah.
I understand if they're your only option, you can do that, but they really did not want to help us until
there may be some of you out there that have had a great experience with them and have had no issues. I mean, I had one issue with JetBlue, but they came through, no ifs, ands, or buts. Top notch. And I'm still going to throw out that guy, Rudy, from Dallas Airport. You're awesome!
But that was my trip. I'm glad to be home. I mean, I love to travel, and it was hard coming back because I had more stuff I wanted to do. Did not pack the right shoes for hiking, so that didn't happen. Next time. But I'm glad to be home. I'm still tired from the trip, and it's been a couple days.
Yeah. So, this is the video after the video you've just watched of us finally finishing Disney. That happened well over a month ago that we started that. Pretty much 3 weeks, something like that.
Life.
You know, here we are with an update video finally. And the reason for that is because you guys are sitting right next to a wonderful tool. Now, I haven't quite gotten the kinks worked out, but I'm going to show you a little sneak preview, a little taste to whet your appetite with. You ready for it? Alright guys, so here we are. This is what I originally was supposed to get. Well, it's actually a different brand, but oh my god, this thing is so sweet. Still gonna take some getting used to. So as you can see, it's got all these different knobs and gears and whatnot that I still have to go through. So there's my boom mic, and that's originally what it was supposed to do right there. And yeah, but I love it because this tripod sits right there. And then of course you can plug that in. I am, however, going to have to figure out eventually what I'm going to do. I do have an adapter that plugs into this. I do have the iPhone 8 Plus. In case you guys were wondering, I've been vlogging with it for well over a year now. And whenever you plug in the phone, you can't quite put it in there the right way. I'll show you what I mean. And so I can't quite show you on my phone, but here's an iPhone case. This goes sideways. This is where you normally would plug it in. Well, it sits up against the stabilizer right there. That's where you would normally charge it, or you would hook up the boom mic and stuff. If anybody out there knows how to maybe install that properly, because I mean I have ways that I can probably do this, but for now this is what I've got to deal with. This thing so far is pretty cool. Let me show you some footage of me messing around earlier with it. See how this looks. Yeah. Does it look really jumpily? All right, so here we are. I'm actually holding it yet again, and I can do all kinds of things like turn it down that way, turn it up that way, spin it around. Look at that. It's kind of insane. I don't know if I'm upside down yet or not. I guess I'm gonna have to check that out. So if I'm upside down, forgive me. It looks pretty dang amazing. Like, wow. One of the biggest reasons I really wanted one like this is that I can do this pretty much with it. I'm jumping up and down, swinging it back and forth like that, like swinging it up and down, jumping up and down like, hey guys. So I mean, look, I mean, what's the difference? Anybody see any difference? Like me jumping up and down compared to this clip. And then normally like this.
You have to make the noise to go along with it, though.
Yes, I did. So, all right. Signing off for here. Gonna say goodbye to you guys with my baby kids. All right, guys. Thank you for sticking around with us for a little bit longer.
Yeah.
To check out some of the new toys. We're gonna work out some snafus. And then we'll be back again.
Yeah.
Some more adventures. Hopefully we can get down to the river before it thaws out. Because guess what? It's getting hot out there.
At least for us.
Yeah. So with that being said, this one's Chronicalized. We love you guys. Stay safe.
Stay strong.
And stay positive. Bye. Bye.